In honor of the newly released DC Warnerverse film Wonder Woman 1984 that took so long to come out, I don't remember anymore. Was it May 2020 at one point in time? Or was it August? Or was it October? I don't remember at this point. I had this whole script written out back in April. Probably because I thought it was coming out in August. But of course, it's now December. I had to add a few new things that came out since then. Well, today, I would like to go back and try to figure out the history of this sometimes incompetent, frustrating universe that came to be. The DCEU, the answer to the rat in Marvel's MCU. That inception began with Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. It seemed promising for some time. Then in the past few years, it has now become Days of our DCEU. But sit back, hear me blabber or rant on the history of the DCEU. But first, roll those damn credits. The DCEU, or their DC Extended Universe, or the Worlds of DC, or whatever Warner Bros. Wants to call this thing, came at the heels of Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy, which of course was a big success. Well, the first two installments were. Some till this day don't like Dark Knight Rises. I understand why, but it's still serviceable. But before we can go forward, let's take it back to the late 90s and early 2000s. I know some of you out there might have prior knowledge of Warner Bros. Early attempts of a DC shared universe, and maybe some of you don't. Well, here you go. In 2002, director Wolfgang Peterson, the director of Air Force One, that film with Harrison Ford, and also director of Troy, was set to direct a Batman vs. Superman film from a script written by Akita Goldsmith, the same man behind this masterpiece right here.
Tonight's forecast. A freeze is coming.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
Freeze!
Ice Winter Five.
Does Akiva Goldsmith look like a cross between Harvey Weinstein and when Jeff Bridges was Obadiah Stane from Iron Man? Doesn't he? But Warner Brothers put a stop to that idea in favor of focusing on more individual Superman and Batman projects. After the Destroyer franchise, aka J.J. Abrams, submitted a draft for Superman Flyby. That didn't work. We also had that Nicolas Cage Superman 2. That didn't work. Good. The Destroyer franchise gets nothing until Star Trek. So, instead we got Batman Begins, Superman Returns, and on the TV level, Smallville. The goodness of the DC animated universe, and the fell Birds of Prey. And that fell Aquaman plot too. But in 2007, Warner Bros. Was back in the kitchen, cooking up a script for a Justice League movie developed by Kieran Maroney, if that's how you pronounce it, and his wife Michelle. There will be no Bell, there will be no Brandon Routh as Batman and Superman. George Miller was set to direct the movie, and the movie will be called Justice League Mortal. Notable cast was Armie Hammer as Batman, Common as the Green Lantern, as well as Jay Buckarell as Maxwell Lord as the main villain. Glad this didn't happen. I can see this not hitting too well with some die-hard comic book fans. Jay, he does not fit the Maxwell Lord look, for those who know who Maxwell Lord is. Some might agree with me. Even though I don't like the damn bastard, Pedro Pascal fits Lord more. Anyway, the project was put on hold for failing to secure the tax breaks in Australia, and also that great writer strike that took place at the same time. It was thrown away like a mad gamer, getting pissed off at Madden for keep picking up his balls, his footballs, people, as he travels down the field with 2 minutes left in the Super Bowl. When that happens, he throws the TV out the window. But Warner Brothers and DC, they would have their shared universe. They will. This movie was dark straight from the beginning. Death and vengeance was the name of the game, mainly for Bruce Wayne. It's been in his life the whole entire time, ever since he was an 8-year-old boy in the streets of Gotham. Well, he wasn't on the streets, he was a rich boy. But his parents died on the streets of Gotham, you get the point. The newest in this darkness in this life, The Rays of Metropolis by General Zod. Bruce Wayne was there as he saw Zod and Superman obliterate Wayne Tyler, killing his employees and close friends. From then on, the look of the scowl on his face, Bruce Wayne craved revenge. Superman was looked as a hero in Metropolis and much of the world, but Master Bruce, the Dark Knight, didn't trust the alien with immense power, so therefore the Kryptonian must go, and his tunnel vision war on the alien began. With a little bit of both heroes getting played by the film's main villain, the curly-haired bastard known as Lex Luthor Jr. Really? I got one question. Who decided to make Lex Luthor Jr. and not just put Lex Luthor in there? That's one thing I always wanted to ask about Snyder or Goyer. Whoever decided this decision. Why Lex Luthor Jr.? But anyways, this sets the stage between the two icons, with appearances from Wonder Woman and a rushed live appearance of Doomsday. I, for one, was impressed with Ben Affleck's portrayal of Batman and Bruce Wayne. He was angry. He was brutal. He was not scared at Superman at all. I say Ben Affleck was the best part of this movie. I also gave him the real MVP for this movie. And when I mentioned the real MVP, the person who stand out the most. Now, the Batman storyline was not that bad, but the movie surrounding his storyline could have been better. I can't be mad at the Trinity finally coming together, and also this scene right here. Now, I wish Snyder would have done things differently in some parts, like make the movie a little bit quicker, and less of Warner Brothers keeping scenes that made sense. Damn it, Warner Brothers, stop your meddling hands out these movies. Oh, like I said, I also forgot Lex Luthor wasn't Lex Luthor. He was the son of abusive Lex Luthor Sr. Probably was the real Lex Luthor. I'm still mixed on the decisions, and Doomsday was a really big waste of time, and probably too early to introduce. And you got him from the DNA from General Zod? I don't know, y'all can miss me with that whole marker stuff. Anyways. But things were looking good for Warner Brothers and DC. The movie would make over $800 million in its final numbers. They expected $1 billion. Many complained it was too dark, the pacing, too long. Batman kills Martha, Doomsday. DC had to do something. They wanted more from this film. As Jeff Johns would become the new president of DC Films the same year, Big Make was on the next movie to be released, The Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad was the follow-up to Batman vs. Superman. As the world mourned the Man of Steel's death, which gave way for the darkness to come out of hiding, the Enchantress, played by this thick-eyed, unibrow girl. This film also introduced into the world of DCEU Amanda Waller, Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, El Diablo, Rick Flag, Katana, and is very much a Justice League member, and Captain Boomerang, and this guy who also got his head blown off in the first couple of minutes of this mission. Oh yeah, the Joker was in this, with cameos from Batman and The Flash. The movie was a letdown, a big letdown. I can't even explain to this day. And this is where I started to get pissed at DC. And the reason why? Because Suicide Squad sucked! You know why. The performance of Cuck Smith and Margaret Robbie wasn't that bad, but the movie was just... I fell asleep in the movie theater. Well, it was a late night showing, but still. God, this movie could have been better. More Joker, but less of whatever Jared Leto was doing. I thought he was doing... I don't know what he was doing. I didn't mind the gangster Joker, but the tats on the face for both Harley and the Joker was just too much. What are they? Freaking... What are they? What were they supposed to be? Cokeheads? Tatted cokeheads? Meth pipe cokeheads? Millennials? Anyways, the writer could have easily took some clues from this movie right here.
Just like old times.
Say goodnight Do it now!
After that failure by public reception, but the financial success was good, DC had to do something after the Suicide Squad. They wanted to catch up with those rivals called the MCU. So they decided to do some changes around behind the scenes. Johns had to report to DC Entertainment President Diane Nelson on everything that was planned. Greg Silverman, Warner Brothers creative director president, was outed of his position, replaced by Toby Emmerich. And with those changes, you get in 2017. Warner Brothers finally got their hit with Wonder Woman. At first I thought Gal Gadot didn't fit the role, but she changed my mind in so many ways. She made me a believer out of me, and out of her, whatever way that goes, and better than whatever Brie Larson thought she did in Captain Marvel 2 years later. The only thing I didn't like was the portrayal of Ares. I expected more, but this is more of a nitpick. I only seen this movie once since it was released, but Gal Gadot is bad. Also in this year, we start hearing the rumors of Ben Affleck leaving, or rumors of him directing his own Batman film. Little did we know he was dealing with his own personal problems and demons. There were other plans in place like Justice League Part 1 and 2, as well as the Flashpoint type film. But those ideas were scrapped. Well, Flashpoint did come back a little bit later. Nonetheless, after the success of Wonder Woman, Johns decided the movies needed a little bit more light. Unfortunately, Justice League went into a little trouble due to the trouble not really being the fault of the director, Mr. Snyder, but he was replaced by a man with a rather large head who called himself a male feminist that had experience with superhero shared universes. I've waited a long time for this movie, ignored almost everything that came my way on that day in November. Work, sleeping, driving, women, all the above. Knowing the critics were on the side of this movie, I was still ready. The movie started off with a somber tone, then Batman fighting a parody, then Wonder Woman, then the villain strikes, causing all the heroes to join together as one. Then a sewer fight with the main villain, Steppenwolf, the uncle to the big bad evil at the end of the road. We call him Darkseid. Steppenwolf's mission: collect all the model boxes for Doom. Superman returns, but he doesn't know who he is. The heroes argue. Then the heroes team up again to stop Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf is defeated by the Justice League, now with a recharged Superman. The day is saved. Happy thoughts. Hugs all around. Plus a race between the Flash and Superman. Then we get this scene right here, which made me a little hard. Deathstroke teaming up with Lex Luthor Jr. And that was that. I was let down. I was alright bad enough my dear Packers were let me down this season in 2017. But this movie was just, I don't know, middle of the road. Didn't do a damn thing for me. It was dry as white bread. It had no life. The idiot feminist man, Joss Whedon, had no vision. He made Batman into a joke. He wanted an Iron Man. I can tell Ben Affleck went from fitted to Michelin Man, but it wasn't his fault. Everyone else was Ma. And damn, what is up with that CGI mustache? Then the questions arrive. After the Justice League was released, DC decided to emphasize the shared nature of movies. Maybe if you guys would have had a plan from the start and not tried to use it the one-dimensional PlayStation 2 CGI villain for your main bad guy in your team-up movie, maybe something would have worked for you. But what did the fans know? Following year in 2018, more changes would be made. Walter Hamada would replace John Byrne as president of DC Films and Chantal Neg as vice president, but Jeff Johns would step down that summer. Later that year, it was said that Superman, Henry Cavill, was not returning as Superman, but his Instagram said otherwise. And then Lawrence Fishburne decided to his ass to the rival and star in the Ant-Man and Wasp as Ben Foster. Where would DC go? The two of the biggest superhero icons? They didn't have actors for these characters. Over at Disney, the MCU was on top of the world. Two biggest characters, Iron Man and Captain America, are celebrating wins after the Infinity War by smoking weed and smacking asses at strip clubs. I'm laughing at the failure we call DCEU. I'm just guessing that I don't know what holiday they was celebrating after the wins in Infinity War. Like the actors, like Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans. I don't know what they was doing, celebrating. But anyways, back to the story. Well, then we have Aquaman at the end of 2018, which everyone seemed to like, and everyone seemed to like Jason, or the Jason in this matter. I was skeptical at first, burnt out of what DC had to offer, but Aquaman was just alright. I only seen the movie once. I guess it was a success. A few months later, after Shazam was released, which was another success for DC, too bad his fame was blocked by the Endgame. DC had another idea, maybe more standalone films? In the summer of 2019 happened. It was reported the Destroyer franchise was back, supposedly set to direct a Superman film, and also a Green Lantern film, and also even a Justice League Dark.
Oh man! Oh God! Oh man! Oh God! Oh man! Oh God! Oh man! Oh God! Oh man!
Then the Ben Affleck was gone. His personal demons finally caught up with him. It was time for his replacement. Here we go again! The Wheel of Fortune to see who's going to play Batman next! Oh, let's hire the Twinkly Vampire from those terrible Twinkly Vampire films from the last decade. He really can play Batman. You mean to tell me that this skinny ass I'll stop right there. Let me rephrase that. You mean to tell me the skinny man is supposed to play a hard ass? Come on, man. He needs to be in the gym like yesterday. Look at him. He needs to be in the gym 7 times a day for those shoulders. Yes, that was my first reaction. I thought it was a joke. Summertime April Fool's joke, but it wasn't. But I digress. The Twinkly Vampire, it's not a bad actor, but having the Twinkly Vampire Saga attached to his name, it was hard to ignore. I really do hate them damn movies. I was forced to watch one. DC as a whole, except for those damn comics, better yet DC films, were hitting their stride. There's even cameos of the DCEU Flash and Arrowverse, finally fulfilling my wish to connect the Arrowverse and the movies together. Too bad, I think the Arrowverse is pure bullshit. Anyways, like I said, DC was finally hitting their mark. They were casting actors for the new Batman movie. Even though I don't think this is too much in the DCEU movie, but they had success with the Joker as well. But then this dumb shit. Now on our days of our DCEU, the DCEU seems to be going in the right direction. As a matter of fact, DC live action media seems to be going in the right direction, with the exception of those lousy CW TV shows. The movies have fared better. 2020 hopes to be a good year for DC, with the release of Wonder Woman 1984, and there's Bird of Prey. The Birds of Prey was released right before the Banjo-Kazooie flu created mass hysteria. Not many saw it in the theaters before this, or they didn't care much for the movie being released. And this is an ideal that should have stayed in that smoky weed-filled backroom they call a writer's room. This movie was nothing but feminazi propaganda. Two of Batman's most violent and scary villains, Black Mass and Victor Zsasz, was reduced to 14 unicorns. Black Mass was the ultimate joke. Black Mass, played by another self-described male feminist, whose side chick was in the movie with him. Shortly after this movie's release, the male feminist lost half of his Star Wars earnings to his wife because he couldn't keep his dipstick in his pants. Very, very sloppy, Obi-Wan.
Dumb bastard.
This movie deserves everything for being a failure. I gotta use my regular tone for this. Let me start over. I'm using regular tone for this. This movie deserves everything for being a failure. None of the characters who are in this movie. Let me start over. This is how angry I am. I had to repeat myself 3 times. This movie deserves everything for being a failure. None of the characters are who they are in the comic books, just by name. Huntress was a dud. She looked like a dud. Black Canary was a thud. Cassandra Cain, one of the most dangerous members of the Bat family, one of the most dangerous characters in all DC Universe, was reduced to kid games. Renee Montoya, she was forgettable. And Harley Quinn, what can I say about Harley Quinn without being too off the side? She was just overplayed. Harley Quinn is overplayed, people. How much longer do we have to keep seeing Harley Quinn in TV shows and movies? We have seen Harley Quinn more than we've seen Batman and Superman. Harley Quinn has her own show right now. Harley Quinn has 2 movies, 3 movies now. We still have yet to see a Batman solo film within this universe. At least we got to see a Superman. We haven't seen anybody else yet. We haven't seen Hal Jordan. We really haven't seen the real Barry Allen. We haven't seen the Martian Manhunter. We haven't seen the Green Arrow. Nobody. We haven't seen any of the Robins. But we keep getting stuck with Harley Quinn. He barely got to see the Joker in this universe yet. But we keep seeing Harley Quinn. There's other characters, DC. In the plot, a 5-year-old can come up with a better plot than this. And I'm going back to my regular voice. This movie was just lazy. Director, she had an agenda and she played it well. She shouldn't direct any more films after this antic. Call me misogynist, toxic, whatever, but this movie was piss poor. These characters were mismanaged, and these characters are likable in the comics. I have no problem with these characters in the comics. They're all part of the plan when it comes to the story, but none of them was used appropriately in this movie. Only used for the... Stop myself from saying the F-bomb. They're only used for the
it'll
sake
be
of
fine.
propaganda. Sound up the clips, I'm pissed.
You stupid.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Shit. You said so.
You think you can do this to me? How about new? You blew it!
Man, you should feel bad. I hope the world can see now what's really going on out here, because it's getting ridiculous. It's really ridiculous.
Okay, let me get my composure back now that I got that let out. Unleash the Snyder Cut!
I just want to say, I'm sorry I couldn't make it on there live, but I'm very excited that Zach's getting a chance to finally see his vision realized. I think it's a great thing. I'm really excited for the fans to get to see it, and I want to say thank you to the fans because it was their enthusiasm and their passion that made it happen. Without fan support, I don't think it ever would have happened, and I love Zach, and I love his version of the movie, and I look forward to everyone getting a chance to see it. What up, Smith? I'm the bomb of Phantoms, what can I say?
It's here! It's finally here! 3 years after the fans begging for the Snyder Cut. It's finally coming! To the haters out there, like Collider. Yes, after 3 years, the Snyder Cut of the Justice League is not only a myth, but it exists. It's set to be released on the HBO Max streaming platform in 2021. The insiders in the film industry, or better yet, the so-called insiders in the film industry, stood dumbfounded. Apparently, a lot was left out that didn't make the cut, or the fool from the MCU just cut it out to feed his own pleasure. In the Snyder Cut, composer Junkie XL was used, but in the version we got, Danny Elfman was used, which is not bad, but his sound for the movie didn't hit the mark. Instead of very, very crappy PlayStation 2 graphic villain, we get to see Darkseid instead. A new version of Steppenwolf, also Hal Jordan, and Martian Manhunter is rumored. More Flash, more Cyborg, plus Superman in the black suit, and many rumors of Joker and Deathstroke. Thank God this movie was released. The Snyder Cut movement struggled to win this movie, and some were blamed for bullying and prank calling towards the Warner Brothers executives. I'm just glad that this thing finally came out. The final budget for this after the completion of the visual effects and score editing will be around $30 million. Worth it. Better be worth it. Shortly after the announcement of the Snyder Cut, the rumors of Batfleck heated up. I hope he gets to return to take his role from Twinkle Toes and get Twinkle Toes out of here, since he wants to lay on the beach instead of lifting the weight to hulk up from his skinny waif frame. The twinkly vampire says lifting weights sends a bad message on the body image. I just call that lazy. I just will get a Catwoman will be more swole than our freaking shaggy looking Batman. Or did I mention Wonder Woman 84 was supposed to be making a point about capitalism is bad? Hollywood is truly brain dead. I'm convinced. This time on Days Are at DCEU, for fouling up, Harley Quinn gets the Pirate of the Caribbean franchise. No thanks to Hollywood putting Johnny Depp in a permanent purgatory after getting that dropping the brown treatment from his poopy, misstanky pants herd. The Snyder Cut is now in motion, but now we get DC fandom. Like, I seriously thought DC fandom couldn't have been the saving grace for this universe, you know. Well, maybe for the live action, but more for comics. DC fandom marked the end of the once powerful comic book company, sinking the waters with its rival across the way, Marvel. But DC fandom did bring us Batboy, trailers for Wonder Woman 84, a new Suicide Squad movie, and the first look of Beta Rock's Black Adam, plus some video game news which could be interesting. As far as the DCEU is concerned, the new Suicide Squad, well, the clip of the photos looks alright, but I'm not good with the director they have filming this movie. Okay, regular voice now. Plus, the Snyder Cut Justice League trailer was very impressive to me. It gives me hope. Then after the DC fandom, we start getting more rumors of Jared Leto and Ben Affleck coming back for a movie or a TV show. Then we have the possibility of Henry Cavill's returning. Then the announcement of MC Ram as Hawkman, which I didn't really care for. I call it tokenism. But how will DC overcome the MCU? Well, I don't know. As of now, Ava DuVernay is still up for her directing role in the New Gods movie. Even with her toxic, cancerous behavior and reckless ramblings on social media, anyone with an X chromosome would have been tossed like Jazz from Fresh Prince. And then we have the Ladyboy Flash. He needs to get the Jazz treatment too after attacking that woman. And do we really need a Flashpoint? Come on, do we really need that? And Michael Keaton seems to not know what's going on. And how about Superman? Please let Henry Cavill come back. The man is a model citizen. The fans truly like him. And he likes fans. Bring the guy back, please. Bring him back. Is it that hard? Please. And what about Ben Affleck? Will he finally return? Even if it's for a TV show, I'll take it. It's better than nothing. Him and Henry Cavill plus Gal plus Jason are only good things really about this whole franchise. And I'm not talking about Harley Quinn either. She's overdone. And for the love of God, please keep the Destroyer franchises away. Warner Brothers, have you seen what he has done to Star Wars and Star Trek? They're empty shells in themselves now, even though he's not all to blame, but he contributes a lot to him. He's a death to a company to wherever they go, a death to a franchise, hence the name Destroyer Franchises. Plus, Penny Kulushikos is also a toxic fart for his IG comments after the election. Keep that cancer away from Wonder Woman 84 after the release. Can we also get more Green Lantern, more Batman, more Superman? Captain America and Iron Man have taken over as the world's finest moniker, no thanks to Warner Brothers, ineffective to actually put Superman and Batman out there. I know you guys put them out there in the past. That what makes you money. Not this. I'm not even gonna go there. You know what I want to say. Then we have the second attempt at the Suicide Squad. It almost feels like 3 at this point. Too bad it's gonna be directed by James Gunn, which I don't really care for. I think I'm not even gonna go there either. Then we have Black Adam on this way. It took the rock long enough. Beta ass. Then I forgot about the Jaffu and Ray Fisher thing. To me, my whole opinion on those two, for clarification, Joss Whedon and Ray Fisher, they sound like a bunch of teenage girls. Ray Fisher might be gone anyway, who knows? Most Joss Whedon's gone. And I guess we can't get rid of Poopy Stanky Pants Booty, huh?
Get her out of here!
That's a mess. Good, more Shazam or Captain Marvel. Can we get a three-way fight between Shazam, Black Adam, and Superman, please? The DCEU, it needs to recover quickly. I think it can kick the MCU out as I predicted many years ago. Come on, Warner Bros. and DC, you can do it. You did it twice when it comes to shared universes. The DCEU and the DCAMU. It's not that hard. You can do it. In conclusion, in honor of Wonder Woman 1984, I can say that Wonder Woman is holding up this series, along with Aquaman. I truly hope that Wonder Woman 84 can do well, even though I don't like it being set in the 80s. I think that's been overdone. I think Maxwell Lord and Cheetah should have been villains used in the present day, but Cheetah's kind of like a legacy character, as many of them in DC, meaning there's more than one woman that has name, of course. I just hope that the DCEU finally gets somewhere. This is your time. It's your taking. The MCU is done. It won't last long the way it's going. I want some excellence. There's not much entertainment left to watch. Don't make the same mistakes Disney did. Be excellent. Be great. Be legendary. Give me something to watch that won't make me angry or violently ill. Expect a review for Wonder Woman 84. I'm dropping the mic.